All right, good morning, everybody. Actually, it's gonna be evening by the time I post this, but it is now day 2, Wednesday morning here at the SEMA Show. Nice thing again, as I mentioned yesterday, since I have the media credentials this year, I am in the event a half hour before it actually opens to the general public. So, well, not the general public, the industry folks that are here for the event. So, on that, let's go around and see what additional types of cars and products we can find to share with all of you before it gets crazy out here and we can't actually get close enough to film some of these things. All right, so this 55 Chevy build behind me is called Brute Force, and the vehicle is insane. It definitely falls in the category of one of my favorite builds for this year's event. The custom work, again, like some of the other cars we've seen here, is absolutely top-notch, second to none, and the details, every time you look at it, it's something new. Between the blinkers and the tail lights and then the bumpers, they've been flipped upside down and then completely cut apart and reshaped to make them fit and be tucked in. The interior, just the color combinations, and then the attention to detail on the steering wheel and the seats with the integrated seat belts and headrests, and then the bottom of the seats. Everywhere you look on this 55 is just something new and absolutely incredible, and I'm really glad to be able to see this car here in person at the SEMA Show because it is just absolutely stunning. Of course, being a blue car, I'm always a huge fan, and this is powered by a Merlin 540 cubic inch engine, and it's just a monster of a vehicle. You know, whether you love DDE or hate DDE or somewhere in between, never even heard of DDE, you have to respect the attention to detail and the build that they did here on the 720 GTR. Now, I'm not a huge McLaren fan in general myself, but this car I'm absolutely blown away with. And he spent a ton of time on this car, a ton of effort on this car, and you really see and feel the passion coming through on this build. Now, the color unfortunately doesn't really come through very well on the camera, especially in here under these lighting. But at the same time, this car is just really, really cool. And then this is the second time I've seen this car in person. I saw it down at Monterey Car Week last year, and seeing it outside, the color comes through a lot better. But it's really cool. I wanted to see here, and when I heard that it was going to be on display here at Gintani's booth, I was really excited to be able to get a closer look to this car once again. So there's a company out there that has been taking, in the recent years, the new Camaros and converting them into Trans Ams. Well, this year they're taking it to a whole nother level by taking the new Camaros and converting them into 70 SS Chevelle convertibles, and they look really good. In fact, they look so good that there are people on the internet when they debuted this vehicle saying that it was an actual product from Chevrolet and they're bringing back the Chevelle. Well, it's not the case. It's a custom Coachworks company that's out modifying Camaros to make them look like 70 Chevelles, but the quality and the work and craftsmanship that they've done is just really amazing to see. The Trans Ams conversions that they've done were really awesome, but doing the Chevelle conversions is just taking things to the next level. And of course, we wouldn't be complete out here at SEMA without checking out the latest from the Ring Brothers. They've got several vehicles here on display this year. This is just one of them that was debuted yesterday afternoon. And of course, as with everything else that the Ring Brothers do, it is absolutely incredible. And the attention to detail is just always there, and it's just really amazing build. And they always changing the game and bringing something new each and every year. And of course, at SEMA, we always have to see what Dave Kindig and the Kindig At Design crew have to bring out. And this year, one of the vehicles they brought out is the green Pantera that's here behind me. This car was featured in their show Bitchin' Rides, and if you didn't watch those episodes, I highly recommend you go find them and check them out, because the amount of work that went into this car is just unreal. I mean, they cut this body completely apart, and I don't think there's a single part on this car that is left stock from the original car, and it just really amazing build. And I really love how under the hood, the engine that they've got is a modern engine, but they've got a dress-up kit on there to make it look like the old school 427 single overhead cam engines. And it's just, once again, Kindig just always knocks it out of the park. Now, of course, the green isn't exactly my taste, but it does work on this car. I'd have preferred some other color myself, but at the same time, it really pops. All right, so this year at the SEMA Show, Dodge and Mopar are in 2 different booths. So the Mopar booth is in their traditional location out in the South Hall, but the Dodge booth is in the Central Hall in what used to be the GM booth. So GM and Ford, if you hadn't heard, pulled out this year. They are not at the event. Instead, Dodge has taken over where GM was, and Toyota and Lexus have taken over where Ford was. So let's go around and show you what Dodge brought out to have here at the SEMA Show, because they've got a lot of the new stuff that they've been unveiling, and it's nice to be able to actually see them for the first time here in person. One of the highlights that Dodge brought out was the new Charger EV concept car. This one, instead of in the gray that they had at the Detroit Auto Show, this one's in a red color, and instead of the wheels that were on that car, this one's got a set of drag radials and drag light wheels on all four corners. They also have a display of all the different color options that they're looking at to have the car come out in. And they've got some really neat colors that are coming out. Personally, I think my favorite is the yellow, but you can't go wrong with pretty much any of the colors that they have to offer, and the car looks good in red as well as it did in gray. I can't wait to see it in the other colors, and hopefully in the not too distant future get behind the wheel of one of these and let you guys know how this car actually drives and if it is true to being a muscle car. Dodge also has their new 70 Charger carbon fiber body on display that you can go ahead and order to go and build your own resto mods. Now, if memory serves me correctly, price point on these bodies, they're not cheap. They're about $200,000. So you have to really want a carbon fiber 70 Charger if you're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on one of these. But it is an option now from Dodge. So behind me is the fleet of final edition Challengers and Chargers that Dodge is coming out for the final model year of their Hemi V8s. So unfortunately, they were supposed to have the final one debuted here at the SEMA Show, but I'm told because of supply chain issues, they weren't able to do that. So we still have the rest of them here. We've got probably my favorite of all of them is the Black Ghost Edition. Now, if you haven't seen, there's a documentary from Haggerty here on YouTube about the history of the Black Ghost, and so having a modern version of that is really cool, all the way to the simulated gator grain top on it. We've also got the King Daytona Charger, and we've also got the Swinger Challenger and Charger, and then of course the Super B wide body in plum crazy purple. They don't have the B5 Blue Super B, which is just the standard body, but still you get a feel for a lot of what they've got here for their final editions. The website is already up to see which dealers have gotten allocations for which models, so go check that out as well if you're interested in one of these, and they'll help you locate a dealer that's getting these cars in over the next year. All right, and the Mopar booth never disappoints here at SEMA. Unfortunately, of course, as we expected, it is absolutely packed, so it makes it a little bit of a challenge today to film. So we'll get you a little bit of a highlight reel right now, but we'll be back here again tomorrow morning to go ahead and film before the madness ensues, so that way we get nice up close of all of the vehicles. So of course, as always, you're gonna want to stick around for tomorrow's video in addition to what we've already shot today and yesterday. All right, and so that's gonna be a wrap today on day 2 of the SEMA Show. I hope you enjoyed today's coverage, and of course I will be doing another video once again tomorrow of the stuff that we couldn't get to today because of all of the crowds. As I said in yesterday's video, we are still seeing a little bit of a drop from pre-pandemic levels, especially on the companies that have displays. But as far as the attendance goes, we definitely have huge attendance this year, which is definitely good to see the return of the folks coming and working here for industry. But at the same time, it does make it a little bit more challenging to get that coverage of that content for all of you. So on that note, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.